Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are well and I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, I can't believe this is the first time you're seeing my face in the year 2023. So allow me first to say happy new year to you guys. I hope that, and I pray, not just hope, that 2023 will be the best year yet. For me, it started on a high note and I'm so grateful to God for that. My life is an epitome of God's grace, but I'm also very thankful to YouTube because the amazing team at YouTube have been nothing but spectacular, and I'm also very grateful to you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the love. Thank you for leaving comments, thank you for sharing, for the likes, and just for watching and for just being a part of this community. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I'd like to say a huge thank you to you guys. So guys, today's video is the part 2 or the second part of a 2-part tutorial that I had going on, and if you haven't seen the first part, what are you waiting for? So last week I released the first part, and it's a tutorial showing you how to draft the pattern for a simple yoked blouse. So someone asked in the comment section and asked me to do tutorials on how to make like yoked blouses and dresses, and I said no worries, I got you. So I went ahead to make the first part of the tutorial, and that one I kind of dissect in details how the pattern goes about. So if you haven't seen that, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click the links in the iCards above and in the description bar below and go ahead and watch that. In this video, I'm going to be showing the second part of it, which is how I join and sew the pieces together. However, before we go too far, I want to give a shout out to the subscriber of the week, and the subscriber of the week is Special KXOX. He or she left the comment and in my last video, and I'm just gonna say a huge shout out to you. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. You are absolutely amazing. So we're gonna have that every week. We're gonna have a subscriber of the week, and it's just me give my way of just saying thank you to you guys for leaving your comments, for leaving your messages, for sending me so much love. So shout out to you, Special KXOX. Now, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Ayotolaoff, the creative director of So Unique Adunni and the content creator of this YouTube channel, DIY with So Unique Adunni. And if you're wondering what this channel was about, well, don't worry anymore. This channel was created just for you, to give you loads of craft content that you can do from the comfort of your house. So basically, I specialize or focus in giving you tutorials that are detailed enough for you to follow, even if you're a newbie. I know, what's better? So the next thing you want to do so you don't miss out on all that awesomeness is that you want to click the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. So just hit subscribe, and you want to click the notification bell so you don't miss out on awesome content that I post. Okay, so when you click on notification, you want to click on all the time or all notifications, just to make sure that you never miss out. All right guys, without further ado, we're gonna get straight into the tutorial. Thank you so much guys, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys.
All right guys, so picking up from where we left off, these are all the pieces. So we have the pieces for the front and the pieces for the back. So if you remember, we have 3 pieces each, 3 for the front and 3 for the back. So we're going to start with the tulle part or the yoke part, and as you can see, we have 2 pieces of tulle. I put them on each other, and the first thing you want to do is you want to sew the neckline on 1/2 inch allowance, and then also if you like, you can sew the armhole part, but please leave the shoulder part unsewn. After sewing, this is what it looks like. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I use the French seam for my sewing. However, you can sew normally. Be sure to notch like the neckline so that you can have it laying flat when you're done. While still working on the front pieces, go ahead and take the second and third part. On the second part, it's important that you identify the top and the bottom. So for the top, go ahead and create a notch, which is what I've just done. And then now go ahead and put the lining pieces apart. You want to get the center front and one of the side fronts, and then just take them in position. If you need to trim it, go ahead and trim it. And starting from the bottom, you're going to go ahead and pin the side front to the center front. So if you notice, I started from the bottom. That's what I recommend, and that's what I prefer to use. Pin it all the way to the top, and this is how it should look. After pinning, go ahead and sew it on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. We're going to repeat this for the other side as well. So go ahead and pin the side front onto the other side of the center front, all the way from the bottom to the top. After pinning, go ahead and sew on both sides on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Repeat this exact same thing for the lining as well. Now that this has been sewn, this is what the main fabric and the lining pieces look like. And at this point, guys, we are making good progress. So the next thing we want to do is you want to find the notch, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our yoke. or yeah, our front yoke. Now on the front yoke, you want to fold it into two, and then you want to notch the center. It's important that you notch the center to find the middle point. Now that the center is notched, go ahead and pin the notch on the tool to the notch on the main fabric and pin that together. And then you want to go ahead and lay it on the main fabric. It's important that when you're pinning the tool onto the sides of the fabric, you leave 1/2 inch for the armhole, because the tool has been turned inside out, but the fabric has not yet been turned. So you want to make sure that the fabric is extending by 1/2 inch on each side of the armholes. After pinning, this is what it should look like. Now go ahead and place your fabric or your lining over it. So it's going to look like a sandwich. Essentially, your tool should be in between your lining and your main fabric, and the tool should be facing the hem. Okay, so the tool is facing the hem and it's in between the lining and the main fabric. After doing that, sew that on 1/2 inch sewing allowance, starting from the armhole all the way to the yoke area, and then back to the second armhole, just as shown. After sewing the armhole and the chest area, you want to go ahead and sew the hem as well. So go ahead and sew the hem on 1/2 inch as well. Now, after sewing all the pieces, this is what it looks like. As you can see, I did the armhole and I went ahead to notch it, and I also did the hem. After doing all of that, this is what your top is looking like, at least the front part of your top. Go ahead and give it a good iron. Make sure you notch all the parts that have a curve. So I would say that you want to notch the armhole area and then give it a good iron. If you can, go ahead and top stitch. If you can't, it's fine, but just give it a good iron. I advise that you top stitch. Now, after ironing my piece, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's looking good. Fold that and put it away, and it's now time to work on the back pieces. So again, for the back pieces, we have 3 pieces. The yoke, which is the first one that has the toe. We have the center back as piece number 2 and the side back as piece number 3. For the yoke piece, you should actually have 4 pieces. Now go ahead and lay them as I have laid, and you should have 2 of each. Now it's time to sort out the neckline. Go ahead and sew along the neckline 1/2 inch, and then sew it down to the zip area, just as described. So again, I used the French seam method, and I went ahead to sew, starting from the neckline, I went ahead to sew the curve, and I sewed it down towards the center back area or the zip area. And after doing that, as you can notice, I'm going ahead to notch it now, and it's important that you notch it so that you can have like a nice curve. If you notice, I also snipped off some parts so that the curve will come out nicely. So now that it's done, this is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to join one side to the front, but I wanted to show you guys how I do the joining. So to join it, it's important that you lay your front piece flat on the table. After you lay it flat, because it's tulle, you find that it hides. So make sure that it's as flat as possible. And if you need to hold the shoulder parts in place with a pin, go ahead and do that. Now that that's been done, I've held it in place with a pin. We're going to go ahead and lay it so that the right sides are facing the right side. So basically, you lay it out it's supposed to look like, and then just lay it on it so that the right sides are facing the right side. After doing that, you want to make sure that it's starting at the shoulder neck point or the edge together, and hold it in place with a pin. And as you can remember, it's 2 layers. So go ahead and open up one of the layers, and then you want to wrap it around the front one. So basically, the front one is sandwiched in between, just as shown. After wrapping the back tool over the front toe, go ahead and sew it on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. After sewing, this is what it should look like. So guys, I just wanted to quickly show you how we had it. This is what we have now. It all aligns at the shoulder neck point. Now we're going to go ahead and finish it up. So go back to the position that you were, so that the front is sandwiched in between the back toe. And then we're going to go ahead and finish the edge. Now, if you notice, if you've done this properly, you should have your tool sticking out, the back tool sticking out by 1/2 inch on both sides. So 1/2 inch on the front, 1/2 inch on the back. So you should be able to see the excess. Once you have that excess, go ahead and sew it all the way from the top to the bottom on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. After sewing, here's what it looks like, and as you can see, we're nearly finished with our top. So we're going to go ahead and finish the second and the third parts of the back pieces. For the second and third parts of the back pieces, always go ahead and place your pieces as it should be. So this is how it will look like when I'm joining it. We're going to start with the main part of the fabric as opposed to the lining, which is what I like to do. However, feel free to start with the lining if that makes your work easier. So go ahead and take the main pieces of the fabric out, and then put your lining aside. Now that that's done, we have the wrong sides and the right side. go ahead and arrange the pieces as it should be. So you need one piece of the center back and then one piece of the side front. You want to make sure that it matches, and then you also want to do it for the other piece. So this is how it's going to be. Now, starting from the bottom again, we're going to go ahead and pin the center back all the way to the side front. And again, like I said, start from the bottom and work your way all the way to the top. Go ahead and pin it, and then after pinning, we're going to go ahead and sew it on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. However, before sewing, I'm going to show you again when I pin the other side, so you know the shape of how your blouse is going to look at the back. So go ahead and confirm that you're pinning the right parts. You can also tell by, the darts cut out. You see where the darts was. So again, go ahead and pin starting from the bottom is my recommendation, and pin or work your way all through to the top. So now that that's done, go ahead and sew it on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Repeat the same thing as well for the lining pieces. And again, on the lining, it's important that you top stitch. So go ahead and top stitch. Now that that's done, guys, this is like my lining pieces, and my lining piece rather. And this is what the front piece looks like. We're going to go ahead and put the zipper on. Guys, excuse the fact that my zipper is black. I had no brown zipper, and I needed to finish this like on the day that I was sewing it, so I had no choice. Now go ahead and mark your zipper allowance, and in this case I'm using an allowance of 1 inch, which is what I left when I was cutting. So go ahead and mark it on both sides of the fabric, and then after doing that, we're going to go ahead and sew the zipper. Now, to sew the zipper onto the fabric, I always start with placing the zipper, as it should be, so that I'm sure. And the best way to do it is, just, loosen your zipper, or, zip it up actually, and just place it on the fabric and see what the expected outcome is. So now we're going to start with the left side of the zipper, and it's going to go on the left side of the fabric. Again, like I said, when you place it on your fabric, you'll know which is correct. So place the left side on the zipper to the left side of the fabric, and then you want to make sure that the right side of the zipper is on the right side of the fabric. So again, we're starting with the left zipper on the left part of the fabric, but you're making sure that the right sides of the zipper and the fabric are facing each other. That means the wrong side of the zipper is facing you and the wrong side of the fabric is facing the table. Go ahead and pin that in place, and then go ahead and sew it as close as possible to the zipper teeth. So I'm just going to show you guys how I sew it. It's not necessarily like me focusing on how I sew it, but I want you to see, how I kind of control the machine. Alright guys, after sewing, this is what it should look like. So as you can see, we've done a good job, and you can go ahead and close up the zipper to see what you've done so far, just to make sure that you're on track. So I have this ones that open like open fully, and this is what it looks like. So don't mind that the zipper is like way longer than the blouse. It's fine for now, just leave it in place. We're gonna go ahead and pin the other part of the zipper in place while the zipper is still closed. So as you can see, I put the zipper again, right side of the zipper facing the right side of the fabric, and pin it in place. After pinning that, I went ahead to sew it in place, and this is what it looks like. So alright guys, at this point, this is what it looks like. Don't worry again about the length of the zipper, leave it for now. The next thing we want to do is we want to sew the tulle onto the back piece. To do that, unzip the zipper a little bit and then place the tulle how it should look like. So we're going to go ahead and imagine. It's always best to imagine your results rather than just jumping onto the sewing machine. So imagine how it should look like, and this is how it should look like. So the best way to do it is place your tulle so that the right side of your tulle is facing the right side of the fabric. However, you want to make sure that your tulle is facing the hem. So starting from the zipper part, you're going to pin the center back of the tulle to that point, and then we're going to go ahead and pin the armhole close to the armhole of the main fabric. Now remember that we need to tidy up the armhole of the main fabric, so you need to leave about 1/2 inch for that. So you're not pinning to the edge of the main fabric exactly. However, you're pinning as close to the zipper as possible. I don't know if that's clear. So when it comes to the zipper, you're pinning close to the zipper, but when it comes to the armhole area, you're leaving 1/2 inch so that we can finish off the armhole area. So after pinning the first side, go ahead and pin the other side. So just for demonstration purposes again, I'm showing you want to make sure it's 1/2 inch is left on the extreme end of the armhole. If you need to pin as many times as possible, go ahead and pin it in place. This will make your work easy. Now, if you need to hold this in place, you can go ahead and just hold it with a small seam. However, if you're sure that you're good, you can go ahead and place the lining over it. When you're placing the lining over it, you need to open out the zipper area because it's important, and then go ahead and pin the lining in place. So you repeat this for the other side as well. After sandwiching the tulle into the lining and the main fabric, go ahead and sew it in place on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So you sew it from the zipper area all the way to the end of the armhole, and then you sew it across the armhole curve. Basically what we're doing when we're doing the front. So you sew the curve for the neckline and then the armhole. Make sure you notch all your curves, and if you have the time or the patience, go ahead and top stitch. So this is what it looks like for this one. I just wanted to show you guys. So on one of them I completed it, but on this one I wanted to show you guys. So now that the armhole and the neckline has been done, you want to go ahead and sort out the hem. So hold the hem starting from the center back and then sew it on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. That's the lining and the main fabric. Now after sewing the hem, you also want to sew the zipper part closed as well. So now that the hem has been sewn, this is what it looks like. So the next thing to do is to sew the zipper. We're going to start the zipper and we're going to just fold it from the part where the lining meets the fabric, and we're going to pin it all the way from the top to the bottom. So it's important that when you're doing this part, you pin it from the top to the bottom, not from the bottom. So pin it from the top to the bottom. And the reason why this is important is because the way we've done it, the lining is shorter, so the fabric folds into the zipper. Now we're going to go ahead and sew it on the part that has the first stitch. So the first stitch that we did for the zipper, we're going to follow that stitch and then sew it on 1 inch allowance. What we're doing is that we're closing the zipper in place and making sure that the zipper, you know, is neatly closed against the in between the lining and the fabric. All right guys, so now that the zipper has been done, go ahead and zip it in place, and this is what it should look like. So at this point the blouse is nearly finished, and the last thing to do is to sort out the sides. All right guys, so this seems like the easy part. However, I have to say that it can be a bit tricky because you're going to be working with a small space at the end of the day. So the next thing you want to do is, starting from the armhole area where we have the lining and the fabric meeting, go ahead and pin the armhole together. So armhole of the front and armhole for the back, pin it together, right sides facing the right sides, and we're going to work our way so that we can pin it round. So at this point, as you can see, I'm turning them like inside out, but don't worry, when you start pinning, it will kind of guide you on how you should turn your fabric. So again, like I said, work your way from the armhole onto the hem. So you'll be doing, you know, like right sides to the right sides of the front and the back piece, and then you're going to work your way from the hem onto the lining area as well. Again, right sides to the right side. So as you can see, where there's a joining, I tend to spread out my seam to make it as flat as possible. So go ahead and work your way around. It will be like a circle, and then pin that in place. After pinning, you're going to go ahead and sew that on a 1 inch sewing allowance. All right guys, so like I said, it's going to be sewn on 1 inch sewing allowance, and I just wanted you guys to see how it is. If you have one of those machines that have, like, you know, a part that you can remove to sew the sleeves, it's perfect because it allows you to just go round at once. So that's what I'm using now, and I just went ahead and I just kind of went round. So after sewing on 1 inch sewing allowance, this is what it looks like. You know, go ahead and remove your thread, cut off all loose thread, and this is what it looks like. So all done. Now it's time to bring it to the right side. So again, we have one side unsewn and one side has been sewn at this point, and this is what it looks like. So the blouse is coming together nicely. All right guys, this is the point where it gets tricky because we're going to be sewing the other side. Now to sew the other side, we're going to start similarly. So you start from the armhole facing the armhole, right sides of the fabric to the right sides of the fabric, right sides of the lining to the right side of the lining, open all the seams. Now go ahead and work your way pinning from the armhole onto the hem. I would say work your way on the main fabric first. So as you can see, just pin it all the way down. It's a bit of a struggle and it does get a bit tight here. So make sure that you take your time, just be patient and let the fabric guide you. That's my advice always. Now, after pinning all the way through the main fabric and we're getting to the lining point, it's important that we leave a gap of 5 inches unsewn. And what this 5 inches will do is going to give us some leeway to turn our fabric onto the right side. So leave that gap of about 5 inches. Go ahead and mark 5 inches on the lining side, not on the main fabric, and make sure that you leave that place open. You don't want to sew it up. So when you're sewing, you're going to start sewing from one of the 5 inches mark, and you're going to sew it round onto the second 5-inch mark. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you at least have 5 inches open, and it is open on the lining piece. So again, take it to your sewing machine and sew it on 1 inch sewing allowance, guys. 1 inch, not half an inch. 1 inch for the side seam, please. And after doing that, after sewing, this is what it should look like. So now that we have the 5-inch opening, we're going to go ahead and flip our top onto the right side. So as you can see, we're on the inside of the top, and it's all the, you know, messy stuff. So we want to get it to the right side. So it's a bit of a tight, you know, tight space to work with, but go ahead and, you know, gently, without ripping your dress or your blouse, I should say, flip it over to the wrong side, to the right side. So now that it's on the right side, this is what it looks like, and you have, you know, your blouse ready to go. So you have this opening. I'll say iron your blouse first and then close up the opening by top stitching. Also, you want to go ahead and do the hook and eye onto the net part, and this is what the blouse looks like, guys. It's all done. And as you can see, I was wearing it here. I think I recorded this particular clip a day before, like, my birthday. That's why you can see the balloons there. But yes, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was worth your while. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comments, suggestions, and feedback in the comment section. Thank you, and I'll see you later. Bye.